Hello everybody, welcome to Advanced Programming for Business and Data Analytics. In this short video, I'm going to talk about Hackshop 4 and generally talk about the COVID crisis and going forward for this course. So as you know, we are in this unprecedented COVID-19 outbreak emergency, which has thrown everybody off. But as a humanity, I think we are equipped to adapt ourselves to this kind of situations. Although it is challenging, I'm sure everybody is thrown off. But this is the first time situation, but I'm sure we together can go through this. And going forward, I think for the large part, this course is not going to be affected too much. Schedule has been adjusted. Those changes have been highlighted and listed in the emergency syllabus. Make sure you download and review the changes. Although the calendar has been updated, further adjustments might be likely, just because as the outbreak continue to evolve and university policies may change over time, which may make it necessary for me to make changes to this course. And another notable change will be that in-class Hackshop will become a remote session instead of physically inside the class, because it's unsafe for large crowds together in this situation. Although location is changed, other aspects of the Hackshop may not change. The deadlines are published in the emergency syllabus. Please review them carefully. Normally, in a normal situation, Hackshops are due by the end of the class. But now we don't hold class physically inside the classroom, and I would like to further make it flexible for you to accomplish these items in a remote setting. Therefore, the deadline for each of the Hackshop will be typically by the end of that day. It's typically on a Monday, but Hackshop 4 will be a special case to allow you more time to adapt to the situation. And beginning next Monday, well, of course you can start working on it right now, because all the materials have been made available to you. But assuming that next Monday will be the first official day to start Hackshop 4, you will have 3 days by Wednesday, end of Wednesday, to submit the work. So literally you have more than a week. And other than that, this course will not be quite different. Well, by the way, exam 2 will be different. The format of exam 2 will be different, as is announced in the announcements. This video is specifically about Hackshop 4. I'll talk about more specifics in the next slide. And also I will demo some quick techniques of working with Jupyter Notebook and Markdown cells. And these demonstrations should be particularly helpful for Hackshop 4, because in Hackshop 4 you will make use of the exam notebook that you submitted during the exam, and you will need to or it will make it easier if you copy and paste some of the cells into Hackshop 4 notebook, Jupyter Notebook files. So it will speed up the process that you worked on Hackshop 4. So let me specifically talk about Hackshop 4. The objective is to provide an opportunity for you to revisit exam 1, regardless of how well you did. If you did well, and in that case, congratulations, you can challenge yourself and push yourself harder to reflect upon those points and have fun in making new questions to possibly challenge me. If your performance did not meet your expectation, now is the time for you to tighten those loose knowledge points. And if you try really hard in Hackshop 4 to review every point where you made a mistake in exam 1, it is possible. It is possible. And I will seriously consider your effort and your progress in Hackshop 4. That if you do well, if you do exceptionally well, it is very possible for you to gain bonus points to exam 1. So that means that your exam 1 grades can possibly be modified depending on if you do a terrific, excellent job in Hackshop 4. My expectations for Hackshop 4 in very short sentences is that I would like to see you reflect upon the loose knowledge points underlying each mistake that you made. So it is critical to reflect upon and study them again, and to think about what could have done differently. I would like to see that you push yourself really hard to reflect upon those points and to exploit them after that you have had a better understanding about those loose points, and be able to synthesize and put them together and make some new questions. Feel free to make questions that are commensurate with your progress in this course. And the expectation is not that to see you create tough questions or tricky questions. It'll never be tricky. You don't have to be tricky at all. The expectation is not to see tricky questions, but questions that give you questions that reflect or demonstrate your understanding of the knowledge points. If you can make good questions, clear questions that test exactly on the knowledge points, or one or more than one knowledge points in a question, that demonstrates your understanding of the knowledge points, and that it is a clear sign that you have done a great job in revisiting exam 1 questions. So this is just a short a narrative of the expectations. Please carefully review the details in Hackshop 4 Jupyter Notebook file for specific requirements and expectations. Okay, now let me demonstrate some techniques with working with Jupyter Notebook and Markdown cells. I'm going to bring up my Jupyter Notebook, and you can see that on the right I have the Hackshop 4 Jupyter Notebook file opened, and on the left I'll make use of the exam 1 Jupyter Notebook file. And a couple things to notice here. I have enlarged the font, so if you were to compare the Hackshop 4 on your laptop with this video, you might see that the lines will break. The lines break at different points because I have zoomed in the browser and the fonts are displayed as bigger, and the line breaks are, of course, changed, but all the contents are the same. Okay, now so this is the Hackshop 4, and I included included a brief report about exam 1, and I listed the specific Hackshop 4 requirements here. Be sure to read them very carefully before you start. And I noted about the style of comments and feedbacks in the exam 1 that you can download from exam 1 feedback to learners. I listed the expectations in short, grading rubric on how I will grade your Hackshop 4 submissions, and how that may be related to your exam 1, may be related to your exam 1 scores. And I provide some examples on how to make new questions after reflecting upon the knowledge points tested in the questions that you lost some all or partial credits. Okay, now the fun parts. Let me bring up the slideshows. I'm going to demonstrate how to copy cells quickly across different Jupyter Notebook files. So this one is so this Jupyter Notebook file is Hackshop 4, and suppose that I'm going to copy a question that I lost some points, but the questions have several cells. Let me bring up the exam 1 notebook. Suppose that I lost some points in question 1. In question 1 of the programming questions, coding challenges. By the way, Hackshop 4 does not expect you to analyze the 3 conceptual questions, so you do not need to reflect upon or do anything about the conceptual questions. If you did lose some points on those questions, I would suggest that you review my notes in your exam Jupyter Notebook file, and also review the book and conceptual slides. That's the first modules. That's the first module's conceptual slides. If you have any questions, and if you have further questions, feel free to let me know. Okay, so suppose that you lost some points on question 1, and you're going to reflect upon the knowledge points here and analyze it and create new questions using the same knowledge points. Then you would want to copy and paste these cells over to your notebook, or to your notebook for the Hackshop. But copy each of them is time consuming. For instance, for both the code cells and Markdown cells. If you only copy the Markdown cells after they have run like this, you will have lost. Let me change it to Markdown cell. You can go to the drop down menu, or you can simply click when you are in the command mode, not in edit mode. When you are in command mode, you have the blue ribbon on the side, and when you are in the command mode, click M, keyboard M, as a shortcut to convert it to Markdown cells. And if you were to copy and paste the text here, you would have lost the format. If you were to run it, and it becomes a plain text instead of the formatted text. Now, generally, there's a quick way to format for big headings, sort of such as question 1. This is a bigger heading. This is bigger fonts, sort of like a title or subtitle. And typically, title or subtitle can be quickly formatted with hashtag, and it is and the size of the font is very intuitively indicated or demonstrated as you type more hashtags. 1 hashtag means level 1 header, 2 hashtags means level 2 header, 3 hashtag means level 3 tag, and this in the example, the question header are in the level 1. You can click enter key to take a look. It's actually in header level 2, so it's quite big. It looks bigger because I zoomed in. To make them look similar, you can either format them here, copy and paste and run, they look the same, or more quickly, you can copy and paste one or multiple cells together. So what I really want to do is actually copy all the cells here. So what I can do is select the beginning cell and move cursor to the command area, to select area of the end cell, hold down shift, and click the end cell. Now everything will be selected, and while it's selected, select Control C and move the focus to the Jupyter notebook that you want to paste those cells, and place and click and highlight the cell before which you would like to paste the copied cells, and click Control V. As you can see, the cells have been copied exactly over here before the cell that I wanted them to appear. Okay, now the next thing to demonstrate is Markdown cell formatting tricks, styling tricks. I actually have done some, in terms of heading, I have done some. And what else can you do here? Usually you would need headings or different levels of headings. You can do that by using different number of hashtags, but here's something to note. If you want to write a heading, do not follow the hashtag immediately with your text, otherwise it will change the header. It will overwrite the header format. The header format Markdown style expects at least one space between the hashtag or hashtags with the first letter. If you glue them together, it will not make them a header. Instead, you need to leave at least one space, and regardless of how many spaces you put, actually, it will not print them. You know, which is the HTML syntax rule. Okay, this is header level 2, just to demonstrate. Other tricks, you know, shortcuts for converting a code cell to Markdown cell. You can simply hit keyboard M. Notice that the symbols here disappear, which means it is now not a code cell, and you can confirm by looking at the drop down menu here. It is confirmed to Markdown cell. Some other quick techniques. If you want to embolden the fonts, for instance, this sentence has a bold word. If you want to embolden the bold, you have two ways. You can use double asteroid sign, or you can use double underline. They serve the exact same purpose. Make sure that they are in pairs. Also, make sure that there is no space between the symbols and the letters, otherwise it won't print the style. It will be interpreted as asteroids and underlines specifically, sort of like an escape symbol. But if it's a way to escape them. But if you want to activate the Markdown format, make sure that there is no space between those symbols and the word. Next, if you want to italicize a word or part of the sentence, this sentence has an italic word. So I'm going to copy this, and the way to do that is by using the same symbols one time. So asteroid underscore or underline, this becomes italic, right? And again, the same rule. If you leave a space in between and the asteroids are not in a pair, it will not serve the intended purpose, right? So if I close a gap, it will do it. If I close a gap, if I type another underline, it will italicize the italic, but will leave the isolated underline alone. So they're always in pair, and they should always be glued to the word to be formatted. And another, I'll demonstrate one more trick. Sometimes I use I use a different style or different font, sort of like a fixed length style to denote special characters or special names. For instance, pandas package, a variable name, or a method. For instance, the pandas package is especially useful, and panda is a special name for the package, So sometimes I use this symbol, and after running, the Markdown cell will display pandas in a shaded and fixed length font, sort of like a equations font. So this is I did this by using a symbol which is called back quote or left quote. The symbol is on the same key where the tilde symbol is on. It's on the very upper left corner of the keyboard, just beneath or to the south of the escape key. It is the key in before or to the left of the number 1 key on the laptop. It is not the number keys group. It's on the main keyboard. Or in other words, it's the first key on the second row of the keyboard typically. And when you use shift combination, it will type tilde like this. But if you don't use shift key, it will type the back quote, which is this quote. And if you use the left quote or back quote to quote a word or any portion of the sentence, it will be especially formatted for you with the fixed length or fixed width font. And in this case, you don't have to make sure that they always are glued to the word, because this is a special font. It can be used on anywhere, or even it can be used anywhere, or even part of the word. But typically, you won't do that. Okay, so these are the tricks that are relevant to and maybe particularly useful for Hackshop 4. And keep in mind that Markdown cells are very powerful. There is a lot to learn, but you don't have to learn them all. Markdown cells are not essential, but they are helpful to convey ideas and to clearly explain things and to clearly document things. So the principle of using Markdown cell is, in my words, is to deliver clear, clean, and consistent content. Remember the 3 C's: clear, clean, and consistent content. Is actually 4C. Four C's about Markdown cells: clear, clean, consistent contents. As long as your Jupyter Notebook file, after being submitted, is clear, things are in Markdown cell are always clearly visible, and they are, by using proper heading, they are usually properly distanced with the next cell code cell, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Try to use consistent headers, and by the way, if you want to type multiple paragraphs without having to use line breaks, you only have to keep an empty line between 2 paragraphs, and it will naturally break them out into paragraphs. However, if you forget to include the empty line, it will be like that. the second paragraph will not be displayed as intended. So you only need to, I've done during. So this should be the second paragraph. However, I didn't keep an empty line between them. If I add an empty line between them, the paragraphs will be separated clearly. So this is another trick. So as long as your Jupyter notebook is clearly sectioned and headers clearly indicated and consistently used, don't jump between levels. Don't avoid using different levels for the same, same level of section headers. I try to use consistent labeling, consistent, and as always, check the typos. These are the minimal or the normal expectations of using Markdown cells. Let me go back to the slides. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope this is helpful, and I have, as you know, I announced in the announcement that I have created discussion boards in Blackboard to make it easier for raising questions and to reuse and recycle questions that somebody else asked, to make it beneficial for the entire class. So if you have any questions, and if those questions have not been asked, make sure you raise the questions in the discussion board. Follow the links. These are not links. Follow the path to go to the specific discussion boards. For this one, it's Hackshop 4. And read other students' questions and read my responses, or possibly others' responses. If your question has not been addressed, make sure to raise those questions. Or if the question is rather private, send the questions inquiries to me. Bye now.